Struggling to write your gaps in the literature section? This video is for you. In this video, I will give you some tips for writing the gaps in the literature section, as well as provide an example of the introductory paragraph for the gaps in the literature section. The first tip is to start with an introductory paragraph which lists 2 to 3 areas or gaps that are missing from the literature you discuss. Then you need to discuss each gap in a separate paragraph using at least 2 sources to support each gap. If you're doing a master's thesis or a doctoral dissertation, you may be required to write a 1-paragraph justification as to why the gap or gaps you've identified above needs to be explored. And finally, you're going to choose at least one of the gaps that you listed above and show how your research will fill the identified gap. So I have an example here of an introductory paragraph for the gaps in the literature section related to research on how the weather impact kindergarten educators' ability to engage children in nature-based play in Toronto. And I won't read the paragraph verbatim, but what I'll do is I'll explain the labels to the side of the paragraph. Now you see that I started with a topic sentence which explicitly states that there are noticeable gaps in the literature that I discussed above. Thereafter, I list 3 gaps that I observed in the literature. After that, I selected 3 sources that help to substantiate the gaps that I identified above. Now, some new researchers tend to struggle with figuring out which sources they need to use to justify the gaps that they identify. My suggestion is that you look to see what the sources that you're using are recommending for future research, or you look to see the limitations that are listed in journal articles. Those will give you an indication as to what's missing or what can be improved in the research or the sources that you've read. And finally, you have a conclusion which points to the need for future research to explore the gaps that you've identified. Now you have your introductory paragraph of your gaps in the literature section written. Just a few more paragraphs to go, and you have your gaps in the literature section done. Happy writing!